Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabanson and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And we got one for you guys here today. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So, as you guys know, the preseason is underway, but Media Day took place, I believe it was on Monday. And one of the things that went down was the Clippers Media Day, where we got a chance to hear from team president Lawrence Frank address this investigation that's being conducted right now by the NBA, an investigation that was started by Pablo Torre, right? So he responded to it. He said, we're open for an investigation. There is no wrongdoing, etc., etc., etc. But the main person a lot of people were looking forward to hearing from was Kawhi Leonard himself. And during Kawhi's presser, he was asked a range of questions that we're going to get to momentarily. But I was going through the internet this morning and I came across some sound here via Awful Announcing of Ramona Shelburn of ESPN revealing that during Media Day, the Clippers actually snatched the microphone from her to stop her from asking Kawhi Leonard more questions about the aspiration scandal. For those of you who didn't hear what she had to say, take a listen to Ramona Shelburn here.
And I asked questions. Then I could have kept going, but somebody kind of reached out and grabbed the mic from me.
Somebody from Clipper PR?
Yeah, it was like, okay, you're done now. And then it went to a team reporter, a team TV reporter who asked about being healthy during the offseason. And then the next one was like the team radio person, and they asked another question that was more basketball related.
Right.
Then it got back to, I think, Law Murray from The Athletic, who asked an aspiration question, but it was something about how do you not make it a distraction or something, and he gave a whatever kind of answer to that,
so
and then he was done.
It was fluff at the end.
Then it was done. And I will say this: it's important to note because people are like, "Why are you the only ones asking? Why were you the only one asking those questions?" There were 5 or 6 other reporters in the room. Chris Mannix from Sports Illustrated, Beth Harris from the AP,
all that were going to go
Steve
down
Henson
the same
from LA
line of
Times,
questioning
Janice
that you
Carr,
did.
OC Register. We had all talked before the press conference, and I said, "Okay, so we're all going to ask aspiration questions, right? Because this is his first public statement,
right?
Like." Whoever gets this, like, let's tag team, like whatever.
Sure.
Listen to whatever everybody else asks, and let's make sure we ask. We got to cover all the bases here because this is probably the one and only time he'll address it. And they all had their hands raised and they weren't being called on.
Right. The Clippers were playing defense.
They were, Chris Mannix was kind of in the back of the room and he was, wildly waving his hand.
And Chris was a long way from home. Chris is based back east.
Oh no, he's here now.
Oh, does he live in LA?
Can I ask a question? Do you think Clippers PR called on you because they thought you would be not as?
No, I think they called on me because I did the Ballmer interview.
Right.
And also I was sitting front row.
Okay.
I was in the front.
Because they had to know where you were about to go, right?
Yeah, but honestly, those were not hard questions.
So you heard what she had to say. So the question is, what did she ask Kawhi? Now, some of you are like, well, I remember, I kind of remember, I don't remember. Well, it was this question here that she asked to Kawhi that actually caused them, after he finished responding, to snatch all, like, no more questions about this. Take a listen to what she initially asked Kawhi and his response at the time.
Hi, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. What is your understanding of the endorsement deal that you had with the company that's being talked about, Aspiration, and did you perform any services for them?
When you say understanding, what do you mean?
Like of the contract you signed and how much money you were to receive, what you were supposed to perform for those services?
I understand that full contract and the services that I had to do. Like I said, I don't deal with the conspiracies or the clickbait analysts or journalism that's going on. So that's what it is.
Well, I think the allegation was that you didn't perform any services for them. Is that accurate, or did you do things for them?
I don't think it's accurate, but it's old. This is all new to you guys. The company went bankrupt a while ago, so we already knew this was going to happen. So,
you were named as like the largest creditor in the bankruptcy filing, right? Did you actually get the money that was owed to you in the contract, or?
No, but the company went belly up. It was frauded, as everybody knows. If you want any more questions or more details about that company, you need to ask the owner or whoever else is involved in the fraud that went on.
Right. I think they said they owed you $7 million or something, right?
I'm not sure. I gotta look back at the books, but no, it's more than that for sure.
Do you have any idea of how much you actually made on that?
No, it was like 2, 3, 4 years ago.
So you heard the exchange there. What are my thoughts about this? I said this when we reacted to this initially. How did they even allow him to answer? Allow him to be in a situation where he's answering these questions? If I was Kawhi Leonard in that particular moment, I would have said no comment. No comment. No comment. There's an investigation currently underway, and I don't want to make any comments until the investigation is concluded. Next question. Simple as that. The reason I would have done that is because by answering, people can now say, oh, he's lying about this, he's lying about that, which is in fact what was said, and we produced a show about it, I believe it was yesterday, where David Sampson was like, this guy's lying. This is the problem when you have an investigation, an ongoing investigation, and then you start making comments without a lawyer or some type of person there to help guide you through these type of questions. And it's the reason that the Clippers ensured that no one else asked any questions. So I think the Clippers did the right thing. You don't just go up there and start flapping your gums about this kind of stuff, especially when you're the person in question. A person like Lawrence Frank, the team president, he may be more equipped to deal with these type of questions, right? But Kawhi Leonard, and you're the subject being investigated alongside with the team. No, you don't say anything. You just say, man, I at this current moment, I don't have any thoughts on, I have no comments. When the investigation is concluded, that'll be, and then I'll give you guys my opinions. Or if you want to say something, just say, there was no wrongdoing. And that's all I'm going to say. Simple. People can say, oh, can you ask more? Can you say more? They can say whatever they want to say. You don't have to answer. Nobody put a gun to your head to answer the questions. You don't have to. You don't have to give them the information. You can answer their question, but you don't have to give them the information that they're looking for. So I think that was a blunder on the Clippers' part and Kawhi Leonard's part. He said too much. And I understand he must be frustrated. He must feel like this thing is one big witch hunt, whatever. I get all of that. But in times like that, you got to be a little bit more tactful, because the people asking you questions, they know the buttons to push. And you heard what she said. They were about to unleash a tsunami of questions. If I forgot to say this, you ask him this. If you forgot to say that, you ask him that. You know, you got to be more diligent about how you go about these things. Now, obviously, I don't think what Kawhi Leonard said could be held against him in any kind of way. I don't think he said something like definitive. He just said that there was no wrongdoing. He didn't really give any conclusive information for us to be like, aha, Kawhi said this when in fact this happened. Now, maybe Pablo and these guys can go back and parse his words and say, no, this is incorrect. We have the proof to back this up. He lied there. I'm sure these guys would do that, but I can understand the Clippers doing that. And I can also understand Ramona Shelburne doing her job, wanting to get more information, because the fact of the matter is people wanted to know what the heck was actually going on. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. Peace.